Hello, this video will focus on Pear Deak. Pear Deak is a web-based tool that allows students or instructors to create online flashcards that can be exported to Quizlet, and it kind of has a game-like format with it that I'll show you in just a second. It also allows the teacher to create questions that will import into their Google Slides based upon a Google Slides add-on for Pear Deak to allow students to interact with their Google Slides as they are presenting. So to begin, the instructor will need to create their free account with Pear Deak. Now, please know that when you create your account, it's actually going to give you an upgraded version for 30 days. So I actually kind of have an upgraded version, so I'll try to point out some things that are available in the upgraded version that wouldn't be when you have the regular version. And again, I will have the regular version, but when you make your account, your first 30 days, you get the premium version. So you'll get tools that you will lose if you don't um, upgrade to the premium. So I'll kind of point those out. So the two main things that you can do with Pear Deak is you can have your Google Slides, so you can create presentations that embed within your Google Slides, and then you can use the Pear Deak vocabulary. So let's start with the vocabulary tool, and then we'll talk about the presentation tool. So you want to go to Start a Vocabulary List, and you're going to create a set of vocabulary words for your students. So you can enter the term and then enter the definition, or you can come in and do import, and this is another way that you can add in the terms, the word, and the definition, or you can do it this way. So there's multiple ways to add them in, but you just add in your term and definition. Okay, so I've just created a very simplistic list just to get us started. So I'm going to import that list in, and I'm able to see the terms. Now what I can also do is I can choose definitions here, and it will give me other suggested definitions from Merriam-Webster. So I can actually choose other definitions if I want those versus the one that I've already created. So at that point, we're creating our area, and now what we want to do is play the flashcard factory, which is where students get involved. So when you go to take the session live, you're going to see this screen, and the students need to go to joinpd.com and put in this access code. It's going to ask them to connect to their Google account, and then they should be able to go. So you see that one worker has joined. So we have one student that's joined. So now we're ready to clock in and get started. So this is what it's going to look like. If you had more than one person in the session, it would split them into groups, and they call it a day shift and a night shift. Really, it's a competition. So it's going to give you two different groups, and you can shuffle up the teams if you don't want the same people on the same groups. So then what they're going to be asked to do is basically they're going to give them a vocabulary word, and they're going to be asked to draw an image of that vocabulary word and then type in their own definition of that vocabulary word. And they're going to do it kind of in this factory setting where it's almost like a race, it's like a competition. So we'll go ahead and start playing. So you see now it's kind of on the, so it's giving me, this is what it looks like on the teacher screen, but on my student screen, I'm getting the word cat, and it tells me a furry animal that says meow. And basically I'm given a whiteboard, and I am to draw a cat. So I will do the best of my abilities to draw a cat. And then I say I am done drawing, and then it's going to ask me to give an example of a cat. Now you don't have to use the give an example. You could make up your own definition. You could have any other qualifier that you wanted to in that case. And then so the student says ship it, and then so it falls down, and you're able to see that was my vocabulary word. We'll get to see it a little bit better in a second. So they would continue on with the vocabulary words. So once the groups have created their terms for all of the vocabulary words, then you take it to quality control, and then you're able to see. So these are the ones that I drew. So there's my cat with my example, Mr. Meow. Here's my dog that barks. Here's my snake that makes a hiss sound. And here is my cow. So again, you could expand that out to be any subject area, make a drawing of it to represent something, the term, and then however they wanted to define it, be it an example, be it another definition, what have you. So then we're going to go on. I just want to make sure to approve them as I go. So if something wasn't approved, they would have to go back and redraw it. So I would have approved all the different ones that I needed to approve. And once they've all been approved, I'm going to export them to Quizlet, and I can just give them a name. I can also choose to password protect my flashcards if I want to, but I won't do that right now. And I'm going to publish those flashcards, and it's going to move them into Quizlet. So here's going to be the link to my Quizlet. And those words have now been put into Quizlet for me so that my students can use them. So there we go with our image, our definition. So again, they're making basically quiz flashcards, but they're doing so via a game and via a drawing. So that is how the flashcard factory works, that part of Pear Deck. So the next component of Pear Deck is the Pear Deck for Google Slides. So we'll come in and choose to create a presentation. And it's going to open up in what appears to be Google Slides. It's going to give you some instructions to make sure that the add-on has been added. So the add-on here has been added into my Google Slides area, so it should automatically add it when you click on the link. But then you're going to be able to build your PowerPoint, your Google slide as normal. But what you're also going to be able to do is you're going to be able to come over here to the add-ons and open up Pear Deck add-on and be able to add in these special slides that make it interactive. So you could just go ahead and, add in your regular PowerPoint slides if you want to, but then you can add in these pieces as well. So over here on the Pear Deck slide library, you have beginning of the lesson questions that you can put in, or you have in during the lesson or into the lesson slides that you can put in. These are like templates that have already been made. Now be careful, because the ones that are drawing slides or draggable slides are going to be available in the upgraded version. So I have access to them right now because I'm on my 30-day free trial, but I won't have access to them later. So you might just want to know that you might want to avoid those if you don't plan to upgrade. So I can choose the different ones that I want. So I could add this template in. It will insert it right into my deck. And see, it's what did you learn from the homework, and it's going to be a slide that will allow them to type in their response. So let's do one during the lesson. So I could add this text slide that asks them to summarize what they learned. And so that could be a component. And again, I could build in my regular slides as we go too. Just I'm not adding those in right now, but you could build in your content slides just as normal and add these in occasionally. Here's a multiple choice slide that I could bring in where basically it's going to ask them, um, is this statement true or false? I could say it to them and they could respond to it, or I could have it on another slide and then go to this slide and say, was that statement true or false? You can also do, why was this event important? You can then edit the slide, and then they're going to be asked to respond as to why these events were important. So again, you can choose the different ones. Just make sure that you're choosing text or multiple choice, that you're not doing drawing or draggable, because unless you're going to plan to upgrade. So in addition to that, you can actually come down and create your own slides. So you can do all these different ones. Again, drawing and draggable are going to be for your upgrade. So we can just add in our own text slide where we're going to ask them, we're going to give them a prompt, and they're going to be asked to respond. So basically what I did was added in just a regular slide and added in my question, and then I turned it into a response slide. So I could have made this fancy and pretty. I could have put a background on it, images, what have you. You can make it as fancy or as nice as you want to, but you're essentially just adding in the question and then turning it into a response question. So I could do another one if I wanted to, add in just a text box and say, and I could, again, make it as fancy as I wanted it to be, add backgrounds, add images, do whatever I want to do, just like you would do in a regular PowerPoint. And then I can add on the, within the slide, I can add on the interactive component. So I can also do like a multiple choice. And then in this case, I'm asked to put in options. All right, and then I update my slide, and then we'll be ready to go. So at this point, let's go ahead and take it live. So we can go to present our lesson. and it's going to take us live for our students. So it's going to ask us, like before, for our students to go to joinpd.com and go ahead and put in that access code. So it tells us one student is connected and we're ready to go. So we're going to start our class. So notice up here at the top, if a student gets disconnected, they can always come back in. It lets us know we can skip through pages this way, move back and forth through pages. It lets us know that we are in presenter mode. So we'll just move to the next slide. This one was a template that we had. And so it just basically says, what did you learn from the homework? And the student is given a little box on their screen to type in that result. So once somebody has submitted, it will say one of one responses. I can come over here and do show responses, and it would kind of give me a list of all the things that people have said. Now, it allows the student to actually submit more than one response. So I could have typed 2 or 3 under just one person. So that is what that one does. So again, we could go to the next one, summarized what you just learned. It would do the same thing. They would have an area to type, and then I could choose to show responses if I wanted to. Now, what happens if I'm in the middle of my presentation and I have an impromptu moment to where I'm like, oh, I really want to ask them that question, and it wasn't built in initially? I can come over here to the side and do new question, and I can use my current topic, my current template. I can re-ask the same question, or I can make a new interactive question and select the one that I need. Be careful when you're doing so with this, however, because remember that these, right now I'm in the unlocked feature. So I have all the premium features right now in my 30-day access. So in reality, I'm not going to have as many of these choices once my free trial runs up. So basically, I won't have the draggable and the drawing options. Those will be gone after my 30-day free. I'll still have the multiple choice and the free response. So basically, this would pop up on the screen for the students, and then they would just select their answer. And of course, there would be a context to this, I'm sure, as I'm teaching. But I'd be able to show the results and show the poll there. So then we can move on to our next slide. This one was one that was built in. They choose the answer. Of course, there's some context of why they're choosing true or false. I've asked them some type of question, either in the slideshow or just verbally within the class session. But I'm able to show the results. This one, write down why these events are important, and I was able to edit that slide to include the content that I wanted. So we see that we have one of one responses. I can show the responses. In this case, this one student actually submitted 2 different things, so we're able to see those. This one was the slide that I built within Google Slides, and I just asked them the question. I typed that on the question, and we turned it into a response. So they're able to see that question, and again, you could have made it pretty with a background, with clip art, with all kinds of things. But I just simply typed the question, and then they type in their answer and submit. So then we're able to see their responses just like before. This one is numeric, and so they're able to enter a number this time and submit it. Able to show those responses. I'm able to see that they said 4 within the graph there. And then lastly, this one is actually a multiple choice question. So I have the slide there. Again, that was one that I made in Google Slides. And then they're given the options of Washington, Jefferson, and Clinton, which is the answer choices that I built in when I made it. So they answer the question. I'm able to show those responses and see the graph there. So then at the end, I'm able to end this session because we've completed it. And then I can give this session a really quick name, just so I can see the data there. So then I'm able to come in and see my data by going to sessions, and then I'm able to see a listing of my sessions. I'm able to select it, and then I would be able to view the session from there. So I'll be able to see what was created. That was the vocab session. Let's go back and look at one of the presentation sections. So I'm able to go back maybe at a later date or time and go back and look at these. And again, it kind of froze it. So I'm able to go back and see the responses again. There's also a nice option too over here on the side to export to spreadsheet. And then it would allow you to have those exports here via an Excel document with all of their answer choices.